And Galacticus looks like the best boy.
Look at his arms.
You do realize I'm going to have to open the show on that shot, right? Hi there. Oh, yeah. How's everybody doing? Welcome to YAR Talk. We've been away for a little while, which is totally not my fault and entirely the fault of the stupid kit that records this and edits it. So, moving on. Let's see. We will be later on talking about how to cope when your AC or your fan or whatever system you use to cool yourself down breaks in our Moon Logic segment. So that's going to be fun. And then in our main topic later on, we'll be talking about Sierra-style deaths and whether or not they should be maybe brought back in some modern adventure games. And we'll get into more what that means in a minute. But first, hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hi.
We got IkiFoo joining us. We got Pete. We got Resulka. We got Trolls. And Francisco apparently decided he hasn't had enough, so he's back. With his parrot.
Yes, Francisco brought his parrot. That's not a euphemism.
Or maybe it is.
As far as we know.
He's been drinking his brains. It's kind of weird.
He has pineapple-flavored brains.
We'll gloss over that.
Yeah.
Tasty.
Delicious parrot brains.
Yeah, we have been away for a little while, so we've missed a little bit of news. First and foremost, of course, we are kind of late on this as a result, but we have passed 100 subs on our humble little channel here. So thank you so very much for that.
Golf clap.
I think at the last count, we're up to 112. So here's to...
Wow.
That's a good number.
A lot more.
And I'm at 50-50, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we might hit 150, maybe 200, and at which point...
Hey, my main channel has 150.
I believe... Yay! Well, in that case, my joke's going to fall a little flat. I was going to say you were going to do the special 200 subscriber dance of your people, which I imagine is just you dancing normally.
If you want to keep your subscribers, you don't want to see me dance.
That's what I did wrong with that New Year's.
Subscribe to Gemini Just Games. Subscribe to Gemini Just Games.
Do it.
Watch Gemini dance. Watch Gemini dance. Watch Gemini dance.
Do.com.
Did I derail something? I'm terribly
Can we
sorry.
buy GeminiDoesDancing.com?
I think we should. Just has a button that says parrot brains and then a gif of Tim Des. Sorry, we were doing a show.
Yeah, we were, and then
Something
you
like
showed
that.
up, and then...
Yeah, parrot brains.
So, let's see. More adventure game, somewhat related news. A couple weeks
Beyond
ago?
the Steel Sky is out. No, wait. No, it's not.
Yeah, we've done that. You're really late on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even did that in that episode that we totally didn't bungle.
Which, again, was totally not my fault. Why do you ask?
Not your fault. No.
So, they are, for some reason, I don't know why, making a board game based on The Seventh Guest.
Because they are fun people.
They
They are fun people.
Fun, that's a word.
Isn't this the
I think they've already got an
Seventh
expansion
Guest?
pack for it, too. The Stoff Mysteries or something like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, the Stoff Mysteries was the title of the little booklet that came in the 11th hour box. Or was it? No, wait, no, it was the Seventh Guest box. Yeah, Stoff Files, just not on the character
it's a
files.
Stoff Mystery, Stoff File, something like that. I just know it's got an expansion pack, and somewhere the Wanderer is having a hard-on.
Oh, yeah.
He's having a soup song.
As he helps his cousin move, so that's gonna be real awkward.
The Wanderer is carrying a couch up some stairs, and suddenly he goes, "Oh, my knees buckled. Oh,
dear.
God. What just happened?" And the cousin just goes, "You keep what?
You're not even holding the couch. How are you holding it up?
Wait a minute, your hands are in the air. What happened?" Also, the board game, isn't that the only Seventh Guest property that Rob Landeros has successfully managed to fund? Didn't he try kickstarting like 3 or 4 different Seventh Guest sequels and no one was
failed
into
every
them?
single time. Yeah.
I don't know if
Seems to be going
towards the Burns unit.
is he actually behind this.
Oh.
I think he is. Now, I don't mean to tread anyone's feathery behinds or anything, a phrase that I just made up, but some people,
Clearly.
some evil people, rumor mill kind of people, would say that Rob Landeros was instrumental in botching the 11th hour Beyond Recognition by hiring failed soft porn director David Wheeler to do his evil bidding. Or maybe it was the other way around, but anyway.
Well, Rob
Yeah, I don't
Landeros was
trust Rob.
entirely responsible for tender loving care, so
Yes.
With
There's that.
said soft porn
It
director.
has its
Yes.
benefits.
Said, enough said.
Yes.
It's
And
got
John
Robert
Hurt for
Hart-
some reason.
there's
got
one
John
for
Hart in
FMV
it.
Club.
Yes, actually.
Oh,
I
it's
think
on the
we've
list.
actually,
We were
we've
going to
actually
play
brought
it
it up.
instead of Synergist, and I went, maybe 2 kind of titty titles in a row. Maybe let's shift it up.
Titty titles.
We're
There
gonna
we
get
go.
one
Titty
more.
tater tails. What the hell's a titty tater?
Titty tails. Titty tails.
Sounds-
Tails with
is that-
titties.
Sounds like a
Coming
breakfast
soon to a
special
Burger
at
King near
Hooters or
you.
something.
Titty taters.
Come try our new
Can we
titty
have titty
taters.
taters for breakfast?
If you want a good titty tail, come to me. I will direct you in. the
Moving
path of
hastily on.
things.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I was
So who's got other news?
Drink
getting
your human
smothered and
remains.
covered.
I know we've missed a lot.
Waffle brown hash
Yeah,
browns
well-
or something.
Oh,
Go
We've
ahead.
kind of missed the boat on Whispers of a Machine, the new game
Yeah,
from
we did
Club Dot
kinda.
Games, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
there's a video
it's
coming out tomorrow.
it's been out for so long that I've managed to get out a video on it. So I missed the boat on these things quite a lot.
And I'm getting
Not
several
missed the boat.
videos out on it because I'm playing.
I am delayed. Indeed, you are.
But-
you had
but
the same thought
something-
as me, which was Deus Ex: The Adventure Game. So
I may or may not
so-
have
he
stolen
stole
that
that
from
from you, you know.
you. Yeah.
Something did come out very recently, as in today, and it is Guard
Yesterday.
Duty.
Oh, you
Well,
started
technically
it.
yesterday. Depends on your time zone.
Technically
Duty
a few
by
days
Nathan
ago
Hemming.
because remember this is pre-recorded.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
At time of current recording.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you
I
go.
see what you did there.
guess when that
You mean
is,
we're not
fuckers.
live? I don't know
Not
what this has to
yet.
do with being live, but
Am I doing it right?
Oh god, we're doing the child pageant thing.
Francisco, you had news.
I was gonna say guard duty. Trolls sniped me.
Yeah.
Ah,
Totally news sniped you. Because
That's
someone
fine.
else sniped Beyond the Steel Sky from me, so.
Yeah, I sniped it from Gemini, who was going to snipe it from you. So
Yeah.
eventually this will come full circle. It may take another.
he
couple of
sniped you
months.
through me, which that was
It's a
that was
circle
extra
snipe?
special.
Oh.
This,
No, I think
That's
you were
what I
sort
thought.
of
a
lined
lot more
up,
romantic
and
than
I got you in one shot.
Yeah. It was a double kill of news or something. I don't know.
Well, it is a Friday, so why not?
Hey, Firmament's out. Or it's not out, but it's reached its Kickstarter goal. Finally. Awesome.
So has Lust from Beyond.
Oh, I was going to mention that one. Yes.
With very disturbing screenshots. And they keep
They
sending
they
me
reached a
keys,
they reached a
and I'm
stretch goal with interactive sex scenes, which sounds hideously wrong in so many ways.
Especially after
I
some of
mean,
the screenshots I saw, I was just like,
That
no,
one.
I don't want
kind-
that. I don't want
that
that.
one kind of blows Firmament's Kickstarter out of the water. They reached a stretch goal
No pun
stretch goal
intended.
too, but it's kind of boring stuff like Mac and PS4 and PSVR support, or if you're like me, PSVCR, and English, French, Italian, German, Spanish languages, but no interactive sex scenes, unfortunately.
Okay, this
Oh,
would be
I-
Well,
I-
that
I-
was in
I-
VR, so that
this-
would have been more interesting.
by the time this by the time Lost from Beyond comes out, everyone will have forgotten this. But I urge you, if you're listening to this somewhere far off into the future and Lost from Beyond is out and you're currently playing it, go look at the individual backer messages. When you find the one that me and my SQH Discord denizens put in there, it is unmistakable. It involves soup.
Why am I not
There's-
surprised?
There is soup. The soup is always
This is
on.
honestly my shocked face. Why do you ask?
This one's for you, Wanderer. Soup's always on, brother.
What? No iron brew?
That one comes
I have the
later.
one.
Oh, I.
My God, you're worse than Christopher Lambert. Anyway, I've got
Oh,
some.
man.
I've got some.
And-
Backbone. The.
You got
the
some Backbone?
Noir... No, the game Backbone, where you play like a noir raccoon detective in Vancouver. They put their demo
I saw
out
something about that.
a couple of days ago, and it's
Looked
gotten
like
a
I'm
lot
looking
of.
at that.
Yeah, it's free to download. They kickstarted it, and they just put out their demo, which is called Backbone Prologue. It looks really cool. I haven't checked it out yet, but who has time to play games? But it's pixel art, and it's like an alternate, like furry. Well, not furry, but it is furry because everyone's an animal.
Anthropomorphic. What the-
Anthropomorphic Canada, where all the creatures are.
You
All
say
the
just
people are
Canada.
creatures.
The state of Canada with a map
that?
on. Hello.
So it's basically inherit the earth to inherit harder.
Yes, but instead of them being all fantasy creatures, they're just trench coat wearing noir detectives.
Hence the
That's
harder.
not fantasy?
That's true. That's true.
Type of fantasy.
And apparently they're looking for a publisher. I just saw on Twitter that they're looking for a publisher. So, any publishers out there?
Maybe
go
put your
and-
name in, Grundy.
I'm not a publisher.
Yeah, when's
Wait.
Grundy
yet.
Publishing becoming a thing?
I ain't got time for that shit.
Nobody had time for that.
He says, sipping
It's
the
hard
parrot's.
enough. It's hard enough to make games, let alone publish games. I'm not getting into that racket.
Yeah, he's not Dave Gilbert.
No, anyone who would get into that racket would be an utter fool.
Well, just
And
have
that's
better.
the last time Dave ever looked at me.
This is really going to pay off in 5 months' time.
I would say better organizational skills, but
More parrot juice.
My parrot brains.
Stay hydrated.
No, we'll beep that out and then we'll add subtitles to make you look like you said something
libel
horrible.
alert.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Oh, that's hilarious. You think there's editing in here. Hi, who's got more news? Nope.
I don't have anything.
Not really.
Well, then I,
mean,
shall gently
sure,
place my
something
drink
will-
upon the table. And so that I don't spill any tobacco all over the place, I shall place my
Why'd you
pipe
put your drink up
over
on the
here.
table?
And I shall lean ever so closer into the microphone. And
I
then
have to
utter
share
those
a
immortal
thing
words too late. Because it is now Super Happy Fun Happy Game Time! I'm surprised I managed to bullshit my way through that. So yeah, we are bringing back an old favorite, and by old favorite, I mean we did it once in the first episode and haven't touched it since. Game called Spoonful of Moon Logic, which, I don't know, I like it. It's my favorite because I don't have to do it. I'm going to give these guys a situation which normally has a simple problem. Not around here. These guys are going to apply oh so much moon logic to the problem to solve it. And that problem is, you're sitting, relaxing in your house when, oh no, your air conditioner or your fan or your hands, I don't know, break, and you no longer have anything to keep you cool. What do you do? Who wants to start? Oh, Trolls raised his hand. Okay, you can go.
Did I really? I
I have
should
my
have been
evil
thinking of
days.
something instead of waggling my hand around. Okay, so the AC is broken in your house. See, the problem is that this is one of those introductory kind of puzzles, so you can't actually leave the house before you solve this problem. Otherwise,
Tutorial
you know,
puzzle. Nice.
Yeah, it's a tutorial puzzle. You just have to get used to the interface and such. But unfortunately, this is a very terrible game, possibly made by Take-Two in the late 90s. So the solution is all over the place. So your problem is that the fan inside the air condition is broken. First, you need to get a step ladder, and you need to get up there. Unfortunately, your step ladder is broken, so you need to fix one of the steps on the step ladder. What you do there is you go over to your bed, you saw off one of the bedposts, and then you use the plank to apply to your little step stepladder so you can walk up there. Then you need to unscrew the fucking thing, and so of course you don't have a screwdriver, so you have to go into your drawer, get a bag of pennies out, the bag of pennies that you kept for old time's sake, because it's the bag of pennies your dad used to beat you with to get you to sleep. And then you walk over to the stepladder, climb up. I noticed some people aren't laughing, so apparently they got different bags of pennies too. Climb up, start unscrewing the thing with one of the pennies, one of the blood-soaked, one of the nice ones, and take the little grill off, and lo and behold, a family of raccoons have set up shop inside your fan.
Are
Not
they
just
trench
any
coat wearing
raccoons.
noir raccoons?
They are indeed trench coat wearing raccoons, sentient ones. They smoke little pipes too. They're very fancy.
Did they
Cool.
escape Wacky Wheels?
They have a proposition for you. They will get out of your fan and stop pooping inside it, by the way, if you can somehow fetch them the finest scotch that has ever been poured. Of course, you don't have any scotch. So what you can do is you can solve this two ways, and this is why it's a tutorial puzzle. Either you get the bleach from under the sink and mix that in with some Diet Coke, hand it to them, and watch them keel over. Dad would have been proud. Or you can befriend the nice little mouse that lives in the hole under the stepladder. There's a cute little arcade puzzle where if you go up the wrong side of the stepladder, he runs out and he starts jostling the little ladder, so you have to sort of click left, right, until you stabilize yourself. Otherwise, you keel over and die. And if you befriend the little mouse, he can act as a liaison. You pick him up, you pick him up in a little piece of newspaper, and you hold him up to the raccoons, the trench coat wearing, pipe smoking raccoons, and they, sort of make friends in whatever.
I feel called out.
Language. Are you a raccoon? Anyway,
Maybe.
So that's the introductory puzzle. Once the fan gets going, then our hero suddenly realizes that he has to be somewhere. He has to drive the dismembered corpse of his dear old dad to the local landfill, and that's the rest of the game. So, there you have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a little dark.
Just a tiny little bit. Maybe a match so you can see better. It won't be as dark. Who wants to go next?
Top
Okay,
that
IkiFoo.
bag of pennies.
What is air conditioning?
Yeah.
That's why I said your air conditioner, your fan, anything.
That's right. You've never seen sunlight.
No. If it was not obvious by my ghost costume here, I have not. I have not
Even
seen
more
these
impressive
things. We
because
have
I'm
no
in
use
Australia.
for AC.
I'm so pale.
Shit, I would melt
I
in
know.
Australia.
I know one Australian as pale as you, and she's allergic to sunscreen, so I don't know what your excuse is.
I'm allergic to the sun. I burn within 5 minutes.
All right, so fine. In your case, your
Well,
central
that's
heating's
ridiculous.
broken down.
I
you've been through this.
No,
You've
I
been through this
actually
puzzle.
have been through this quite recently.
Sounds Douglas
of course,
Adamsy.
Well, I know it's not very computer person, not very software engineer, but the first step is to look for the manual. Now, you didn't build this house. It was not yours when it was new, so you bought it from someone. They had to get these pieces of paper and store them somewhere. Now, they obviously thought, I'll keep them in a safe place. Nobody will come across them who's not meant to, but I will remember. No, you know where this is going. It's lost. It's somewhere in the house. So
This is
after
Ludwig and
a
Gabriel
coup-
Knight 2 all over again.
So after pixel hunting every single room apart from the last one, you go through every room, and this is deliberate on the game's part, by the way. You have to visit every room and pixel hunt it, like pixel by pixel. There's a secret cheat you can put in that changes the colors of the pixels you have scanned and which ones you haven't. And when you get to the last room, then it's just right there in front of you. Sitting out in the open, in a locked safe. Now,
Is it a glass safe so you can see that it's in there?
it's two-way glass, but the mirror part is on the inside. They didn't think it through at all. So to get into the safe, you have to think, okay, the important things about their life. And just because trolls went dark, we'll say, okay, it's the day my dad walked out on me, that particular date. Now, you have to track down at least one
think this
family
is the
member
same game.
because not to dig into my own family's backstory, but the people you bought the house from have mysteriously had a tragedy befall them and are out of contact. So, a bit of Facebook stalking later, you find a cousin, then an aunt, and then through a convoluted process of visiting many churches and looking through many records, you find their long lost grandmother. They didn't even know they had. And
This all sounds very
her.
fantastical, but honestly, this is just how real estate works in Scotland.
Yeah.
It happens every time you want to buy a house.
It's a regular,
No, we just pick-
normal experience.
I was thinking
I
it
would
sounded like the Da Vinci Code.
Just very mundane Da Vinci Code. Sorry.
How dare you? We just pay the iron price. It's fine. So this long lost grandma, unfortunately, her brain is not all there. So a couple of comparing of knickknacks in a very, very clever spot the difference game between two particular knickknacks that look just about the same. And you find the exact right one, the one that has no differences between the two whatsoever. And then you turn the bottom and the numbers on the bottom. So back to the house you go. At this point, I mean, the car chase, we can gloss over that. You know, it's not too important. But you get there, you enter the code.
Is it
you
a
get
stick
the
figure car
manual.
chase?
The one interesting thing in the game, we'll just gloss over that.
It is a
That's
stick
alright.
figure, but they've
One
also
car
managed
chase
to include one oblong. They had a little distant budget, and that's where they decided to put it. So
Above and
you
beyond.
That's where we lost Francisco.
I think
You
he's
finally
getting
get
lights
that
on.
safe. A quick lighting lesson from Francisco. Yes, it's dark by the time you get back, so obviously you need to find the light switch through. Basically, I don't know where I could be plucking this example from, but you see a maze and then the maze goes dark and you have to navigate your way through it. Can't think where I got that from. Cough, Resulka's stream cough. And eventually you get
Did
to
you get to bite
the
someone
safe.
after that? You become a vampire? That's how-
Spoilers.
I was thinking Loom.
I mean, Resulka spoiled it now, so I might as well not even bother going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Long
was
story
actually
short,
thinking
you die of
Carandia.
exposure.
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then become a vampire.
So problem solved.
It's a
I
Sierra
guess.
style game.
Wasn't bad. You kind of got lost towards the end. Mainly because of the maze, but still.
And people interrupting. Let's not forget.
Yeah, it's fine.
Unless I have to talk the better. On you go.
Okay, who's
You
next?
did great. You did great. I love you.
Look at them all jumping into volunteer.
you two are too cute. When's the wedding?
Yeah.
Resulka,
next
if it hasn't
expedition.
happened by now.
I mean,
Well, I guess I'm
wow.
going to take that as a
Pete
sign to move on.
really, Pete really wants to join in on this one. I can tell she's excited as all hell.
Yeah, look at her bouncing up
Look
and down
at
in
her.
her chair.
Bursting.
I don't have one, but
I've got
but the idea of doing a bunch of moon logic-y puzzles made me inspired to get my favorite straw.
Oh. Oh.
Parrot juice goes down so much smoother.
Okay.
Not a straw. Check out these cool sunglasses I have.
Mmm.
I have those sunglasses, Pete.
They're pixely.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got those.
Hang on. Hang on.
I bought mine at
As long as we're-
Magfest many years ago.
As long
I
as
got
we're
mine at the
comparing
thrift
knickknacks,
store.
I've got
Ooh.
someone's beating heart.
Mm.
I have.
I call shenanigans. I think you're just squeezing that.
Yeah.
I have a
The
Mug.
number one dad.
I have swords.
I have
Congrats.
a bootleg Little Mermaid that's missing a hand.
Oh,
That's so good.
I have a-
I love amputated mermaids.
A hand
That came out weird.
Ah.
that's not something you hear every day. These glasses don't.
I didn't
fit
think she
right,
was in
but
Star
that's
Wars.
fine.
No, you're right. It sounds weird out of context.
And then
I know.
Baba.
Whilst squeezing
Baba is
the
king.
heart.
These are
I
more
love
like
Pepper.
All right.
Well, these
let me
guys
tell
fiddle
you
with. Oh,
about-
hello.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about my way of cooling down in summer because you'd be surprised that in Australia that my the house that I used to live in didn't have air conditioning.
this straw cools down my face. I just want to put that out there.
Of course it does.
No giving her hints.
But you were saying that fans aren't working, because usually what I did at that house was that I had a spray bottle of water and I would spray myself down and then
We
just
saw
turn the fan
that.
on me. Yes,
You wouldn't
did.
like douche yourself.
I would.
Like a
I would.
swamp cooler.
Friction heat cooling, I like to call it.
Ow.
But the long haul type of game is that you live in a house where there's some holes, there's some problems, there's some minor holes in the roof above your bed, and your dad decides to not fix the solar water heating on the roof and just turns it on anyway, and so you try your best to sleep during this dark hot night that is terrible, and then suddenly
Sorry, I just thought the perfect title for my autobiography would be Some Holes, Some Problems. Right, carry on.
and then the solar
noises.
water on the roof breaks and just drenches you in the bed, and then you're cold, and everything is solved except your bed is ruined, and then you decide to move house for other reasons, but
Based on a true story, no less.
What a delightful tale. Yes.
I miss my bed.
Aww.
I think we'll give the points to Trolls there. As happy as he is to receive them.
Hooray!
You
So
know,
let's move
I
on.
think
You know
I
what?
just got a hole
What's up?
in one.
All of those tales had something to do with fathers. It's a theme.
It's a theme.
Sins
man.
of the fathers, no less.
Oh!
We
I don't
dreamt
get
of
it.
blood upon the shore.
Moving on. This,
We dreamt
I
of
think...
blood upon the bag of pennies, and sorry.
Shush. Sorry, I didn't mean to spit. This, I think, is going to be an interesting debate here. Sierra-style deaths. And what I mean when I say that, I'm not talking necessarily about the over-the-top nature of Pete putting up her dukes at me. What?
Rapscallion?
I'm not talking necessarily about, you're walking along and all of a sudden a bear drops from the sky and kills you, or some over-the-top death like that. What I
A
mean is...
drop bear?
What?
Never mind. Resulka will understand.
Okay, then.
I guess.
That's good, because I know.
Me
Like,
neither.
take a modern game like, say, Unavowed, for example. There are situations where you can die in that game, but as soon as you do, whoop, white flash, and you're back to where you were a few seconds ago, and it doesn't really matter. So you can go about solving puzzles, and you die. Nope, that wasn't the solution. Try this. No, you're dead. Try it again. No, when I say Sierra-style death, I mean you try a solution to a puzzle, it doesn't work, you die, and if you haven't saved your game in a while, you are shit out of luck. So basically, difficulty-inducing deaths, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, but
Should those,
in that case as
should
well,
maybe
that
more games
even,
have those?
Well, I was about to say Sierra kind of fixed that themselves. Like by the time that they got into the later 90s, they had the try again solution as well.
Yeah.
I think it was just more about early programming and not understanding about how to program that shit in.
Well,
But even
half
so.
true, because there are actually, those infamous Sierra groups that we really shouldn't be calling much attention to, have had this discussion for years and years and years about how the try again button is essentially depriving the player of any sort of danger and mystery of exploration. And yeah, that's about the reaction. I mean, I was kind of on the fence to begin with because, there is something to be said for having like a horror spooky game and, walking in to, the werewolf's den, for instance. And you go, holy shit, there's a naked dude eating rotten bones here.
With
I should
lipstick all
run."
over his face.
With lipstick all over his face, no less. I should probably run. And then the chase sets in, and you go, well, it's not really that dangerous because if I die, I can just, try again. There's no real threat. Although
But you
if-
have the same thing even if you don't have that. It just means you have to play more of the game, which is going to annoy you if you have to keep doing it.
And that's why I eventually stopped being on the fence and just landed squarely on the try again button. Is actually a really good idea because the one thing you should not do unnecessarily is frustrate the player. And if there's such a thing as frustrating a player, it's not just failing. As a game over state is a fail. no matter how you look at it. Forcing someone to lose perhaps hours of progress because of said fail, which might not have been telegraphed very well, another Sierra trait, then that is, I've seen rage quits happen for, milder offenses than that.
Well, let's assume all deaths are telegraphed well in these future hypothetical games. So any deaths that occur would be your fault.
I think that
should
if
they?
we
See,
were
it's
talking
fine if it's presented.
No,
as
Pete, you do
such,
not get
like,
to talk.
I don't mind. It's fine. I'm not
something
in any hurry.
like
I'm just
something
gonna
like
forget
Dark
what it
Souls,
is.
for example, infamous for its difficulty. You know that going in. You know it's going to be brutal. You know you're going to die a lot. Nowadays we know old Sierra games, you're going to die a lot, and unfortunately for poorly telegraphed reasons in some cases. For the situation where a Sierra game has telegraphed deaths that would then take you back to the last time you saved, if it was presented as such, if you knew what you were getting into, and I'm only really saying this because I've defended Space Quest 1 on those grounds, part of the fun for that game was just seeing what ways you could die, and even then, losing progress is an obstacle to that. It's an obstacle to everything that makes it a game. So, yeah, I think I'm firmly on the fence of have the try again button. If you don't want it, you don't have to use it. And if
Or
someone else
you
is
could even
using
put
it
it
and
in
that
the-
pisses,
Yeah, you could put it
Sorry.
in a menu option to switch it off. Be like, I don't want to be able to try again.
and
Because
if somebody
What-
else is
Pro-
using it,
Yeah.
A
somebody
possible
else
pro
is
that I
using
thought
it, and
of.
you're offended by that, then you're a fucknut. So,
Because
and
possible
there's a
pro that
lovely
I thought
spot in
of
the
is
sea
that in
just for you to get into.
like in, we'll call them for the sake of argument, unavowed style games, where you can die, but then you're just right back to where you started. You kind of lose connection with your character when you think about it, because
We could also call them Lamplight City-like games.
You can't die in Lamplight City, though.
yeah.
No.
They can blow up.
Challenge accepted.
doesn't kill you, though.
Oh,
But with,
I forgot.
I mean, I
the
think
Sierra
that-
style
His heart
death,
is useless.
with the Sierra
I mean-
style death, you kind of have
Yeah.
a more of an investment with your character because you don't want to see anything bad happen to them, basically.
Oh,
Valid
wait, so what
argument?
you're saying is
Valid
unavowed
argument
is
or not?
because it's well written. You have an emotional connection, so even if you have the try again button, you still feel like, oh, I don't want to get these people into danger. Whereas Roger,
Well, I'm not
Wilco,
saying
in
you
Space
don't
Quest 1 is a
have-
cipher who has no personality, and if you get him eaten by
Well-
whatever the fuck, then it's his own damn fault.
I'm not saying you don't have an emotional connection with them in
Well,
those
you
style
don't
games.
really.
Well, if we talk back to King's Quest 7, which is probably the first time I saw the try again button, was that yes, they died, but the actual character was the one who spoke to you after they died, and was so that you're still getting the connection of like, I'm still with you, and maybe we don't want to do that. Can we not kill me
It's kind
again,
of in a
please?
fourth wall breaking way.
Please?
I don't know if that would sort of.
I'm Queen Valenice, and you're an asshole. You made me die.
Oh, I was thinking of like Rosella, like I really don't want to do that. Can we try again?
Oh, yeah, or Gabriel
I
Knight.
really
I
don't
don't
wanna
want to
be
be dead.
Oh
You do
no!
that again.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I have
Although-
a list of top 10
Actually-
things I don't want to be. That's right at the top.
Gabriel Knight's a pretty interesting example because, as we all know, it's a 10-day structure, but you can't actually die until like day 5. And
Yeah.
so it's a Sierra game where, yeah, there's death,
The
but all
deaths
of
have
the
been
deaths,
delayed.
Well, it's not. They've been delayed, but also you're not really put into any dangerous situations until the story has gotten to that point. And
Yeah.
all of the situations that you get into, I mean, taking with a grain of salt the idea of reanimated zombie corpses in a African snake mound, all the deaths are more or less realistic things that would actually kill you.
Yeah.
So, it's not like, oh no, I accidentally cut myself too much with the dagger and bled to death when I was doing the Schottenjäger ritual or anything like that. It's actual like,
Oh,
oh,
like,
I'm
what's
in
it called
danger.
in,
Pulled a rock on myself
Right.
somehow.
I'm Laura Bow and I walked into
Yeah.
a railing. Oh shit, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't
although,
look
what's
both
it
ways
called?
before
Laura
crossing
Bird-
the street.
Laura Bow
No,
deaths
let's-
are
let's-
amazing.
Let's look at that from a historical perspective, because with older style adventure
Boring!
games, I'm talking like Infocom and early like AGI Sierra games, death and fail states were sort of synonyms. You didn't necessarily die. The game designer just went, that's not what we want you to do. Stop. Like, move on. Like, the police quest thing where you have to walk around your car before you get into it, otherwise you get a flat tire and the vehicle suddenly keels over and kills everyone in a 5-mile radius. I mean, it's not technically.
Damn.
I mean, that's just Jim Walls being a dick. It wouldn't really kill you, and it doesn't
You
actually
don't die
really.
of embarrassment.
Oh, was
if you
that Al
walk around
Lowe being a
naked.
dick? Because didn't he write the design the game of that?
Probably he did. Yeah. Actually, no. Well, I don't
If he's
know.
not a dick
But-
for that reason, then there's a couple of other things.
No, we can. See. He's a lovely, lovely man. But
Oh, we were talking about
it's-
I think
it's-
Jim Walls at that point, but yeah.
it's a fail state. It's not necessarily a death. It's just a stop doing what you're doing and get back to the game, please, kind of thing. And then later we started calling them like deaths, and of course, Space Quest 1. You start off with your spaceship is under siege and everything is on a timer, and then you get into a desert environment and everything wants to kill you. There's deaths everywhere. You'd expect to be able to die like every 5 seconds. Not really so in Gabriel Knight unless he forgets to look both ways before crossing the street or something.
But you were talking
That's
about Laura
Laura
Bow,
Bow.
but yeah.
That's very low bow.
Yeah, same difference.
Or Leisure Suit
Laura
Larry.
lives for death. She's
Princess
looking
Bill
for
was talking
death.
about
She's
Gabriel Knight.
married to death. She's death
She's
by
into
death.
There's
Just
a
Run
interesting.
off with the bathroom lesbian and had a happy life.
Which is
But
Jane
no.
Jensen.
I love that bathroom lesbian.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, touch me
There is
again,
a
dollface.
interesting. There's an interesting modern example actually. Whispers of a Machine, which right at the start says your choices are final. There's no manual saves, all auto saves. Everything you do of remote importance, we save it there, and you can't go back.
Which
That's actually
that's
really
a topic for
old.
another time. The
Yeah.
Yeah,
games not having.
I was
manual saves,
considering-
'cause
yeah.
I am not a fan of that.
but
To be honest.
minor spoiler: if you die, it will revert back to just before you died. Like, that doesn't end your game. So clearly, the fact that you could die was not important enough to them to say the game ends here. They didn't go full David Cage, like say, this is your playthrough, and that is it.
Not gonna
This
say
is
nothing
your
about David
playthrough.
Cage.
You play
I-
Cage is Italian all of a
I
sudden.
know a lot
dance
about
with
David
naked
Cage
ladies.
recently.
To be fair,
don't know
there's
why
very-
This is a Sierra game.
There's very few games with I think the only game I can think of that actually goes out of its way to like make a big deal when you die is Wing Commander, that has like your whole funeral and everything in it.
Like a 5-minute cutscene. Yeah.
And like a 21
Eulogies and
user
everything.
salute.
Although, what's it called? If
But
you
yeah.
know, if games didn't have death sequences, then you wouldn't have like the great thing of like King's Quest 6, where Alexander goes to the underworld, and then later in the actual game, you
Oh,
actually
so
go to that
good.
scene. That's just
I
like,
love that
mwah.
part.
Yeah.
That's
They
actually
have a
pretty.
place.
I'll
They
give
have
him
a
that.
definitely have a place in games. And I love it when they use deaths like in a fun way. When you get killed, but you're like,
Yeah.
Death is
all
fun.
right, that was kind of
Yeah.
like seeing.
Like, to clarify, what
Hell,
I'm asking is
or
they should be
whatever
brought
Entire
back. I'm not,
Space Quest. Let's be
King's Quest
honest.
It's
I'm
like,
not saying they should be put in
alright.
all adventure games from here on. Like,
Yeah.
Avowed style deaths have a place. They're good, but I'm just,
Yeah. I
guess-
think
I
they do
guess
have a
what-
place.
Pup
think
goes
the-
to the scrapyard.
Pop goes to the car crusher. The question is, when you die, should you be forced to go and restore a game, or should you just one thing I'm against is like the checkpoint system. Like you get far enough in the game saves there, and then whatever. Not to bring up David Cage again, but Omicron, the Nomad Soul, did this. Like you get to a certain point in the
Phantasmagoria did
game.
this.
Yeah. Oh shit, Phantasmagoria. It's fucking book. No, wait. That's a
Last
different
Express
thing. You
did
could
that, I think.
bookmark whenever
Those-
you wanted
those-
to. But
Hell.
but you only have
Suck.
one save. That's another pet peeve of mine. You only have one save game in Phantasmagoria. Fuck that. But that
Well,
that
per
whole
profile,
checkpoint
so yeah.
system, like you get to one spot. A lot of survival horror games do this too. You get to one spot, the game saves, and then you piss around until you find the next checkpoint, kind of thing. So it's sort of broken up in little individual chapters, but usually what I find with checkpoint systems is you get to that one spot in the game that's just abysmally difficult. Let's say, like, for Gabriel Knight, the Snake Mound, for instance. There's a save point right outside the Snake Mound. You go inside the Snake Mound, and then you piss about, and you solve the puzzle, and the golems come to life. And then the next save point is when you finally meet up Wolfgang and jump into the inner ring there. Now, let's say that the save point wasn't at the start of the Snake Mound, but way back in Castle Rittersburg, whatever the hell, Schloss Ritter, back there. Then you would have to go... You'd have to go through the entire fucking ritual and then get all the way to Africa, go through the Snake Mound, and then if one of the golems ate your face, you'd have to go all the way back and do that. I don't like the checkpoint system because they're always made by people who are better at the games than I am.
Now, then you go at the cutscenes that you have to go through. I'm so sick of you. God, just go. You're like, you get so pissy. Like,
go peel your fucking potatoes somewhere else.
Yeah, come on, just get on with it. I can't skip this. Go. Like,
how many fucking potatoes do you need to peel? God damn it.
You get, and that's not good. That's not a good video game experience. I don't think that that enhances your experience by having to see the same cutscene a million times because you're dying in a part, 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
I think I may have this.
Sorry,
on you go.
I forgot what I was going to say. It's fine.
Sorry. I think the key here, say between an action game where you slice up a bunch of dudes, that game, to get to a point, and then it would say
Dude Slicer 2000,
for example.
My favorite.
It's my favorite game.
Slice-matic.
Right.
Slice harder.
Slicemans. The hell was I saying? Yeah, so that the gameplay itself is rewarding enough. That's fun to do. You will happily go through these guys again. The appeal of adventure games is usually solving some conundrum, puzzle, situation, dialogue tree, what have you, to get to a certain point. Once you've solved it, you're basically going through a walkthrough that you have in your head because you just did the thing, and that's not going to be as fun. The whole point of adventure games was we look very fancy, but we don't have much in the way of gameplay because it's the 90s and we can only do one or the other.
And that's the thing too, is a lot of those deaths that are just total shit, they just suck. It's because they want to pad their game out as much as possible, because if you played it from start to finish, you'd take like an hour. So let's just kill you a bunch. Make it unfair, don't telegraph it at all.
I don't want to interrupt Resulka. We'll hear Resulka, but I have something to add to that one.
Go ahead, Natalie.
What, you're not going to say anything now? All right. Well,
I'm going to wait for you. You've interjected in a polite way. So go. Go.
You've earned it.
Go.
Fight.
Speak.
Polite. Well, earlier today, or
and that's
maybe
all the time we have for
yesterday,
this show. So,
Darth Helmet was streaming Space Quest 1, and he kind of surprised himself by going, actually, there are a lot of spots in this game where the game could have just, given you the middle finger and gone, well, you're dead now, har har. For instance, like you get in the escape pod aboard the Arcada. Or, I never know how to pronounce it by Arcada, fuck it. Arcada. You get in the escape pod.
Sure.
The escape pod won't actually launch unless you've opened the bay doors. It won't actually launch unless you've closed the door and fastened the seatbelt. It's not like you forgot to close the door, you forgot to put on the seatbelt, ha ha, splat.
You forgot to put the seatbelt, suddenly you explode. That kind of thing.
Yeah, there's none of that. Oddly enough, there is some of that in the VGA version, but that's because the VGA version was made by sentient rats.
And Space Quest 3.
It's the rats that steal your wires or whatever.
Yeah.
What do they steal? Your wires.
They do steal
they beat
the
you
wire.
up and take your big wire.
That's who
Or
made
the
Space Quest 1.
or the
VGA.
generator.
Don't you touch my wire, rats.
They also take the generator, but it's mostly the wire they're after. They love the
they're
wires.
pissed off about
Anyway,
the wire.
So Space Quest 1 has a bunch of instances where it could have gone for the big fuck you, but it actually holds back. There are some other points down the line in that game where it could have gone for the big fuck you, but it actually doesn't. Like if you buy the wrong ship at Tiny's spaceport, it'll drill to the center of the Earth, or center of Corona, but he climbs back out and he goes, well, if he has enough money to continue, the game just carries on. So they actually weren't as ungodly like kill happy as we seem to have built them up to be. Sierra games. There were some egregious ones, there were some very badly telegraphed ones, and there were some really.
You say that.
I have something
The
to
series
say
was
after
established.
Resulka.
They were like, right, fuckers.
You say that, but you haven't really played King's Quest games, so.
Well, Roberta's a fucking psychopath. What do you? No.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I.
All right, let Natalie talk.
Yes, no, I give the floor to Natalie, but I have a lot to say after that.
Because mine's actually going to seem really short and simple now. Have you met our Lord and Savior, Hidden Objects Games? They've kind of solved this by they don't have a
God, look at
system.
the time.
They don't have a checkpoint system. They save after every single puzzle you solve. It's just that. It's just like that's how you go. It's like you do
mean
a scene,
after every
it's
bit
saved.
of shit you find?
You do a
Some of them do have actual
puzzle
puzzles.
thing.
Oh
Yeah, no. All the good ones are like adventure games with hidden
they're
object
so
puzzles
fun.
in them.
They're
And
so
I'd like to
fun.
thank Jane Jensen for that, because she's well known for revolutionizing the hidden object game from just looking at stuff to making them practically adventure games.
Yeah, I played a
don't
demo
have
for a
depth in
game
them yet.
called Lost Lands or something like that.
That one's a good one.
Yeah. It had hidden objects, but it had like
It's like
a little bit of
there's,
everything.
Like, story
Well, at
and-
the what's it called? I'm currently breaking IkiFoo by showing him the descent into some of the more insane ones. We've been playing Dracula Love Kills, which it basically is it's basically an adventure game, although it's a weird buddy cop between Van Helsing and Dracula, and Igor's a weird third wheel.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm a
but
walking simulator apologist. I can stand a story game with no puzzles in it, but I cannot stand a find the hidden shit like one of those children's book. Find
It's
fucking
so
Waldo
funny,
with a
though.
story in it.
Stupid.
They're all got stories. Like the thing is, the stories are crack now, trolls.
They're
Try-
You need to
Try
come and
Lost
join
Lands.
us.
I'm gonna make you guys play any of my favorites. The Jack the Ripper one is the one that I
Oh,
really
the Jack
want
the
to
Ripper
play.
one's great because that's
So
the real
good.
crime ones. The Unicorn
It's
Killer one's even
really
more bizarre.
bananas. It's real bananas.
Oh,
it's so funny.
All right, I'll
There's
play
like
a hidden
3
object game
sheep
if
mini-games.
Pete's in charge. If
I-
Pete's in charge, I'll play one.
Sinister
Okay.
City.
Reigns.
Sinister City is the
Sinister
best.
City.
Sinister City gets my vote.
Sinister City is pretty good. I mean, that
Best
I
9
bought
cents
that
I
one
ever
because of
spent.
you, and it was.
Yeah. And did you regret it? No.
Oh
No,
not
you never
no,
regret
not
Sinister
a
City.
I paid like 99 cents for it and was like,
I paid
oh, I
9
would
I'm
cents.
twice
sorry
for it.
I derailed everything.
I bought
What
it
was
when
the
it came
point of
out. It was
this?
$10, but I still
Oh,
think
so
it's worth
fair.
it. I bought it when it came
Beautiful.
out.
Brilliant.
Don't make me go get the
Still
unicorns.
worthwhile.
All right,
Um,
let's bring this back to the main topic.
Grundy, you had
Francisco,
something to
you had
say.
something to add.
I have 3 points I'd like to address.
Go ahead.
And a PowerPoint.
3! In this PowerPoint presentation. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Luckily, he had an overhead projector with him.
Yes. So the first thing I'll say is, from a designer / animator's point of view, the death animations are some of the most fun to animate sometimes. So shut up, trolls. So I have a soft spot for them in that context. The second thing is, yeah, I think that in modern game design, autosave is really kind of pretty much the solution to this, because yeah, I mean, it depends on how it does it. Like you mentioned the hidden object games. I noticed that they did the same thing in like the Monkey Island remasters. Every single time you pick up an item or solve a puzzle or whatever, it autosaves. And it's kind of annoying because there's like a disc flashing icon, which is very apparent and stupid, and you
Which
shouldn't
doesn't show up at
shoot
all in
stuff
hidden
like
object
that.
games. It just
Yeah.
done.
It just happens.
Yeah. You shouldn't do that.
I like
But-
autosaves, but they are not the end all be all. I would rather still have a manual option.
Well, yeah,
There-
no,
well,
I think if you
no,
have an
I think-
autosave and then have manual ones as well, so you can set checkpoints that you can go back to if you want to try different pathing. Or whatever.
Unlimited.
Exactly.
Yes,
I don't
unlimited.
think.
Yes.
But I mean, like, have an
I-
autosave slot that just keeps up to date with whatever you're doing last.
Yeah.
I don't think that getting rid of manual saves and replacing them with autosaves is the solution. But I do think that, for example, because it all depends on the context, right? I mean, like if you're playing an adventure game and you're in a situation that is telegraphed, like you said, to be dangerous, like someone's holding you at gunpoint, for example, and you have to talk them down through a dialogue option, like one of the things I personally
Charles,
think that those dialogue options should be timed because, like, for example, if someone's holding you at gunpoint, realistically, they're not just going to sit there and wait for you to choose what answer you want. But if it's a situation like that, then yeah, you either have the rewind thing or the game autosaves before that happens so that so you don't have to go through a whole thing. Like, for example, in Shardlight, we had an autosave every time you went on the map, and then at the very end, like right before you go up to the final confrontation, because there's 3 different endings to pick, we autosaved. We didn't telegraph it, so a lot of people were like, oh no, I have to go through the whole thing again and do that, which you don't. But
yeah, thanks for that,
you're welcome. So things like that, like, and it's because if you're going to put death in your game, it should mean something, I feel. It shouldn't just be like, oh, well, I get to try again. It's fine. Like, if you want to put weight and gravitas in your death situations, I think it's important to be able to rewind or do autosave. And the third thing is going to the idea of Sierra-style deaths. I think if a game punishes you for exploring and kills you because you went into a new area that you weren't prepared to go into or whatever, then that's shitty design. And the number one culprit for this is King's Quest V. Because anywhere you walk, no.
And then Space Quest 4.
Space Quest 4 is pretty okay about, like, at least letting you explore the new areas somewhat.
It's because everything wants to kill you. It's sort of given from the outset. You're
but
always
King's
in
Quest
danger.
5, you go into the desert on the wrong screen and you get stung by a scorpion without the ability to, like, run away from it. You go into the inn and you get knocked over the head and thrown in the basement for the very first time you go in there. You go into the forest and you get transformed by a witch into a frog. Like, you have to do trial and error by dying to figure out the places that you have to solve puzzles.
Yeah, it's a very meta solution, King's Quest V. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so don't do
that. The more modern example of that would probably be Order of the Thorn, because there's a maze that you have to basically go through. And you're pretty much given the solution beforehand. But if you actually try and go into any of the other scenes around that path, you get picked up and thrown back at the beginning of the maze. And it wasn't, so like I was playtesting it with Richard Cobbett because I was in York at the time, and like we tried to play it the entire night and just be like, what? Like, they keep saying there's something in this forest, but every time you go off the path, you get thrown away. And it's like, there's no way that my brain would say you have to keep persevering and find the one scene that you can actually push up from to then find the thing. And you can thank us because we're the reason why there's a sign saying you can go up from that one scene. We're like, we need a sign!
I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Talking about trial and error by death. Wasn't there? What was the Space Quest fan game before Decision of the Elder that you played? The Lost Chapter. That had a bunch of bullshit deaths that had like the solution to the puzzle in the death message or something like that.
Well, usually if you die because you forgot to do something, then it is customary to at least include a little hint in the death message about what you might need to do to avoid this in the future. I seem to remember the Lost Chapter taking a certain amount of glee in just outright killing Roger at every single turn, usually by some, like you say, some monster that just appears as soon as you enter the screen and bites your tits off. He had tits in incineration, so I'm just going with what is now established canon. Lovely titty taters on that, Raj.
Your titty taters roasted.
Ooh!
Ow. That's a mammogram I don't want to be involved with.
You don't want to be in a mammogram in general, trust me.
This is like a waffle iron mammogram? No.
Moving on.
Side to side, and
it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Lost Chapter.
Squishy.
Come up with this lovely crispy brown. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I'm on waffle irons now.
Well, I think that will wrap it up and move on to.
No, wait.
Never mind.
I've got
He
a
recovered.
bow to tie around this that has nothing to do with what you were talking about. I just wanted to mention that I thought was a really ingenious way of handling the try again thing is to integrate it into the game as not just a game mechanic, but a part of the game plot as well, like the game
make it
lore.
diegetic.
Life is strange. I know. It's, you know,
Life is strange.
you can say what you want about 40-year-old men writing teen girl dialogue and everything, but I thought it was ingenious the way that they integrated the try again mechanic as, you know, the protagonist's superpower for one thing. It negates death because as soon as she is about to die, she panics and just freezes time. And you have no choice but to rewind so you don't die. And if you like fuck up, even if you just want to go back and try something else, you can rewind time to a certain point. Now it does falter on one point, and that is that you can't make like arbitrary saves. It does the checkpoint thing, and you can only rewind like 30 seconds into the past or something, just enough time to write.
So you can go back to a
correct
previous chapter though, and rewrite.
Yeah,
the whole
you can
thing.
you can skip chapters, but then you have to play the whole fucking chapter. When you do the rewindy thing, you can only like rewind back to the previous choice that you made and redo that one. So every time you enter through a door, you know, you're locked off. You can't rewind anymore. But
And of course, the King's Quest reboot sort of sidestepped death as well by saying like you go into a room,
that's
you
not what
die,
happened.
flashback.
you die,
that's not
and
what I
then
did.
yeah, and the grandpa says, and that's what would have
Fuck
happened
you,
if I'd
Graham.
stuck my
That's
dick in
what
the
I have to
beehive.
say
or
about that game.
something.
Is fuck
Well,
you,
that-
King Graham. Fuck
Prince
you.
of Persia
like
did the
the-
exact same thing.
Yeah, the Prince
Fucking-
of Persia one is saying, well, I grabbed the idol and then I sprinted down the hall, ran up the side of the wall, but I slipped on a loose tile and then I fell into spikes and died. No,
No, you didn't.
Wait,
a
Monkey
minute.
Island 2 did it. Monkey Island 2 is a flashback.
In
You're
one
just dangling
instance.
from that rope.
But yeah.
No, until you get to a certain bit, but
Yeah,
for most of it, it's just
it goes so long that you completely forget about it until it comes back up again, let's be honest.
Okay.
When you die, it goes into the present, and he just goes, Elaine Marley just says, "You're full of shit, aren't you?" Yes, I am.
Final thoughts on this.
Life is Strange was
I
good.
will-
Stop saying it's not.
Hidden object games are fine.
Get fucked.
I love
I
it.
mean, sorry.
Listen, I understand what you think of a hidden object game.
Come
But
to
there's
us,
so much
trolls.
more.
Come
There's
to us.
so much
I-
more now.
Come to
I
us.
promise.
This
is like a
Trolls, I used
reverse
to take the piss out of
intervention.
them.
We're trying to
It
get
was
you
want
to
you
join our
on
cult.
something rather than off of something. I'm learning trolls, so can you. Maybe. We
Let
can
us put
try.
on our masks.
I have one upstairs. Put my hat.
Of course you
course.
do.
Of course
you
I
do.
Of course I do. I have a Jigglypuff costume right back there. I've got
Yeah.
all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I think my mask is still at my dad's house, so.
Can we combine the two? I mean,
Yes.
Can I bring up one quick question, hopefully? We'll see how the answers go. But death as a reason for a character not to do something, as opposed to, say, I'm not going to try that for
I would rather
XYZ
have them
reason
die.
because fuck
Yeah, I'd
you.
rather have them die and then go.
And just
Maybe.
reverse.
Yeah. I'd let them die and reverse, and then then they can be like, look. Especially if it's a diegetic death, it'd be like, look, we know what happens there. I'm not doing that again.
That makes
I
sense
like-
for a diegetic one.
I like if I'm controlling the protagonist.
diegetic means.
It means inside
it's
the
within
game's
the
logic.
narrative.
You know,
Well,
like,
if I'm controlling the
like the way that
protagonist,
the,
I
the
want them to do
orchestra's not
every
booming
stupid
in.
thing
Yeah.
that I want them to do. So, if I want them to try this thing that's going to get them killed, I want to be able to get killed by it.
I
like
concur
having the
with the
control.
smart women in our life.
It's fun.
Who are these?
What are we on me?
No.
I'm wearing a number one dad hat that I
Which
got
is
out of a claw
currently
machine.
reversed for some reason.
Yeah.
It's flip flopped on.
Wait,
It was
you
fine
want
at
something
first.
out of a claw machine. You're at the very least skilled.
Yes.
There.
There
It
we
looks
go.
backwards to me, but all right.
Now it is
I'll
not. backwards.
keep it.
So who's got stuff to plug?
I made a bee game.
I'm back to doing videos again. So I'm finishing
Awesome.
off Dreamfall chapters and Quest for Glory 4, which
Nice.
has been fun because we recorded Quest for Glory 4 back in August and my microphone switched off. So what's been happening has been me transcribing all of that, and then redoing my dialogue into it.
I've been writing my game too, which Pete will at some point illustrate.
Eventually.
No rush. And it turns out I put a lot of placeholder dialogue in, and there's a lot of shit to write. And also, we've decided to make bits of it actually interactive. So, yay! I gotta, come up with puzzles.
Cool.
Yeah, stuff to do. Other than that, I finished my Ultimate Space Quest playthrough. It only took 2 years, and I'm gonna jump straight into playing Monkey Island now. So, yay me!
Which, by the time this comes out, the first episode might be out. I don't know.
If this comes out Monday, we're recording this on a Friday, so if it comes out on Monday, then
it comes
the
out on
Monkey
next
Island episode
Thursday.
comes
Ruin
out
the magic.
next Tuesday.
So yeah, it should be out. What should also be out by then is my latest low-budget gaming episode on a game called Consortium, which, among other things, has timed dialogue choices. I don't know if all of them kill you, but I think if the
Can we do an
dialogue
episode
runs
on
out,
why
they'll
they
just-
suck?
they'll just kind of go, okay, whatever, and walk off. But yeah, it has that, among other things.
Okay, you're not talking.
Yeah.
That could be pretty funny.
And I'm playing
Actually, okay,
Whispers of a Machine. I'm playing this guy's Doom Wad, and I'm playing Donkey Kong Country on my gameplay channel. So go check those out as well. What's up, Resulka?
Oh yeah, I made a Doom Wad as well. Yeah.
No, it's just what's it called? Because we've all got different.
That's where he is.
Let's all point at
They're
trolls.
in different orders on
Everyone
ours.
point at trolls.
One of these days, I'm going to learn how to point on camera.
That way.
All that matters is where it is on Gemini's screen, because
Yeah.
it's from his perspective that this
Yeah.
will turn into a video. That was a sentence.
Yes.
If you say so.
Grudislav has nothing to plug. Grudislav is not doing anything.
Yeah, he hasn't been
No.
doing anything for years. He ain't got anything.
No.
I'm just drinking in my parrot.
He's
Yeah, Bob.
drinking his
I
parrot
suppose
brains.
one thing we can plug while we're here.
Kill me.
Yep.
Synergist people.
Oh, yes.
Synergist.
She's exposing us to a new terror over on the FMV Club. If you haven't seen that, go check it out.
Putting
If
the
you haven't
Zen
bought
and
Lamplight
Synergist
City-
on, maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah, buy Lamplight City.
There's that.
If
there's
you
that
haven't bought
game that
Lamplight
came
City,
We haven't.
please buy Lamplight City. April was a really shitty month for sales. I'm kind of hoping it was because it was tax season and you're all saving up your money for the Steam summer sales.
Yeah.
And if you
Also,
are,
a Golden
Buy it.
go
Lake.
play. Oh yeah, you can buy a
Golden
Golden
Lake.
Lake too. Yeah, that doesn't
And
make
Shardlight
any
City.
Oh,
Shardlight
Yeah,
City.
Shardlight.
Shardlight City.
Wait a
Wait.
minute.
I don't
Take
care
me
about
down to
Shardlight.
Shardlight City with the grass.
I don't get any royalties
That's
from
the-
Shardlight.
Oh.
So.
That's the
The
sequel.
grass
Mouse
is
Fordham,
green and everything is green.
Mouse Fordham and Tiberius. Go ahead.
Well, there
Oh,
is a
shit.
Shardlight. There is a Shardlight Easter egg that no one's found in Lamplight City. So
Oh, yeah.
Shit, I thought you were gonna say there's Shardlight /fic.
oh, I'm
there
sure
probably
there
is.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Shit.
Rule
was gonna say
34
here-
says yes.
Denby and Gus. Mm.
And then
And on
Like,
that
hey,
note,
back
that's
door
where
man.
we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to Natalie.
Denby on
Thanks
that
to Pete.
stretchy gurney.
Shut up,
thing.
trolls.
Oh,
Thanks
yeah.
to trolls.
Yes.
Thanks to IkiFoo. Thanks to Francisco. Thanks to you for watching. I don't know if we'll be back. Bye.
Bye.